Welcome once again, folks, to Paranormals and Coffee. Tonight, we have somebody I've been watching for quite a while, Haunted Adventurer. Welcome, Andrew. I have been watching him since we were both on VidMe, trying to get our shows out there to be seen by people that YouTube couldn't squash, which still happens to this day. Some of the locations he's gone to in Lincolnshire, some extremely beautiful architecture, urban exploration at its finest. But the reason why I've stuck with him even on YouTube is because of the evidence that he's collected. The EVPs that he's gotten are quite amazing. And I highly recommend you check out his channel. Andrew, say hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me on, mate.
You're welcome. And with me today, we have Zephora and Joel. Joel's muted because he's doing something in the background. He'll be with us shortly. So, Andrew, tell us about how you got started in this.
Right. Okay. I started in 2008, March to be exact. I was at work and I needed to go upstairs and get some paperwork signed off. I went upstairs to see my boss, and I actually interrupted a conversation between himself and two others, and they was talking about their ghost experiences growing up. They asked me what my ghost experiences were as a child, and I said never experienced any. So we got talking, and then my boss actually suggested that we go out one night and see for ourselves what was out there. We actually went to an aerodrome in Lincolnshire called Elsham Airfield, and even though we didn't have any recording equipment or anything like that, just cameras and a flashlight, that was it. We actually heard the sound of a Lancaster, only for a couple of seconds, but we all heard this Lancaster.
Okay, now hold on a second. I got to step in here. A Lancaster is a World War II plane. I believe it was a bomber of a type.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So that kind of stumbles. And anyway, the next day back at work, we all agreed, because of what happened, we'd go out again to a different location. And we went to a place called Hubbard's Hills in Louth in northeast Lincolnshire. And it was there we actually photographed a full-bodied apparition of a what's called the Black Watch Soldier, or we believe it to be. It's been seen before, but nobody's actually captured him on camera. They've not had proof of him. But we believe that's what we caught that night. Now, with me actually being a non-believer, it got me thinking, you know, the Lancaster, the full-bodied apparition that we caught on camera, is there something out there? And it just stemmed from there. And for the next 18 months, we went to different parts of Lincolnshire. People started booking us in to do their homes because they believed they had a haunting. But it was the next 18 months, we didn't really capture anything like we did the first two investigations. And I decided to leave the group and go it alone. I wanted to try my own thing. And it wasn't until I actually started watching Ghost Adventurers that I adopted their techniques in a way and started concentrating on EVPs. And a couple of weeks later, after doing an EVP session in a building in Grimsby, I actually captured my first EVP. Now, to me, it's very real because I was in that room on my own, and the voice of a lady came through, and there was nobody around me at that time, and I was absolutely stunned by it. I couldn't believe I actually captured it, and so from then on, it was I just completely concentrated on EVPs, how to capture them. I usually find that the techniques that work best is actually learning the history of the building and the people that lived in that building, names, what they did for a living, and try and ask questions. Ask them questions about what they did. Can they remember this? Can they remember that? And it usually, to me, it usually acts as a memory jogger for them. And usually, I get answers. That's how
That's
I get
very
my answers
wise.
for them. Sorry.
That's very wise.
Yeah. I think there has been times where I've had to provoke, and it's not, a couple of times I've had to provoke. It's not paid off. I've got the result I wanted, but it affected me physically. Um, but at the end of the day, this is what I do, and sometimes things like this, you've got to expect to get bitten on the rear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a common thing, especially in Ghost Adventures, which is they tend to throw themselves out there probably a little bit more than they should. And I've seen your provocation on the gentleman who was uh, kidnapped the girl and murdered her in the home, etc. And this, uh, your idea of provocation and Zach's, where he's screaming at it, is not exactly on the same level. Uh, so I just wanted everybody to know you're not descending to that level.
Oh no! I'm not going down that down that road. No, no.
What they call the Zach Bagan's bear shirt provocation method.
They tend to
I
do
like
that.
it.
They tend to do that on. Sorry, I'm messing with my volume. They tend to do that on the the BuzzFeed one too,
Oh.
because Shane is a non-believer, so he just kind of goes and screams at the ghosts, and they don't get a lot of evidence. And I think it's because he just kind of pisses them off and scares them away.
Yeah, that's why I and I've said this so many times that the English paranormal investigators are so much easier to watch. So much the American shows like Zach's could definitely take a page out of their books, which is why Nick for his for Paranormal Lockdown is so much better because he goes about it calmly, coolly, collectedly. You would have thought that he was born with a British head on his shoulders because he goes about it much more methodically than the others do. And even the Wraith Chasers are much better at it than Zach. So that's why I want to get everybody introduced to Andrew, because his show shows exactly how it should be done and the results that you can get by not grandstanding. It's wonderful. And some of those places you go to, you were talking about in Lincolnshire, they're just amazing. And how old are some of those homes?
Um, Anywhere between 200 to 300 years old.
And that would put them in about what time period, generally speaking, for the people at home?
Mid 17th century, mid 18th century. Turn of the 19th century.
Victorian homes as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Dickensian type homes, and it's kind of sad also looking at them because of all of the graffiti and the defacement. But you can easily imagine how they used to look.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I walk around these buildings and film them, people have asked me, why do you film old buildings? And my answer to that is, one, I love history, and two, when I go in there, I try to imagine what that building looked like back in its day and the people that lived there. You're walking the same path a family did 300 years ago. It's just amazing being in there. I mean, some buildings I could spend all day in there. The character of the building as well. It's just amazing. It really is, and it gets me out of the house.
So tell us of some of the things that you've collected while you've some of the EVPs. I want people to go to your channel, but this is the cheese that should lead them to the trap to watch your shows in more depth.
Right. As you probably know, there's three types of EVPs. You've got Class A, Class B, Class C. Class C, to me personally, isn't really proof. Well, a Class A and a Class C is. It's what people want to hear. I'll see. So they're the EVPs I concentrate on. I've caught a good lot of Class B ones, but I don't show that. I put them to one side. But yeah, the Class A and the Class B ones. The one you was talking about, where I used provocation. That was the Elsham investigation where the blacksmith murdered his wife. You saw that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they were two of my best EVPs. I mean, I usually find that as well, that when you stop asking questions and you kind of have a conversation with who it is you're with at the time investigating, you usually find and the odd EVP sneaking in a pause, like the one at Elsham, where on video you can see me, something caught my attention to my right, and it was like a light or something, and I got into a conversation with Kevin, that I was with at the time, and there was a bit of a pause in the conversation, and it was in that pause that you hear a woman saying, "Help me." Did you hear that one?
Yes, I keep muting myself so that I don't there no background noise comes in. So sorry if it takes a second. But yes,
Okay.
that's the one. And I even noticed that you turned and looked, and I was curious what you saw, because you may have actually seen an apparition. I was that's part of why I wanted you on the show, because I definitely wanted to hear what you saw.
Well, what I saw at the time was it was a very dull light, but it was noticeable. I caught it out corner of my eye, but I didn't actually know if it was the lights or the nighttime, affecting my vision. But it went up and then it dropped. That's what got my attention. But in the video, Kevin, he saw the same, but he didn't know if it was the night playing tricks on his eyes. He didn't know, but that's what we saw. And but yeah, like you say, I mean that could have been an apparition. I'm not sure.
One of the things that I'd recommended to Brent when he was talking about trying to see ghosts was the understanding that for us, when we look to them, we don't actually lock eyes with them until we know that we've got they're solid enough for us to see. And the average normal person sees ghosts most of the time out of the corner of their eyes, because of you have cones in the center of your vision. Sorry, rods in the center of your vision and cones on the edges. So it's actually easier to pick up duller, more difficult and diffuse light by not staring at it directly. And so some people will actually note that when they turn their eyes, snap to look at it directly, it disappears. And it's why it's easier to look at stars in the heavens by not looking at one in particular and just letting them all show up. And
I've seen apparitions like that before.
Yeah.
I used to work in a hospital. Oh, I'm sorry, my volume keeps jumping out of my control. I used to work in a hospital, and I was sitting there one day, and I got this overwhelming sense of grief, and then I saw this light from in the corner of my eye come out of the ceiling in front of the clock, and then like shoot down, and I thought it was just like a streak in like a trailer of the ceiling light in my eye, and I tried to recreate it and I couldn't. I think it was just someone had died upstairs and then they came through the ceiling and shot down.
So Andrew, have you ever done any investigating in hospitals? Where was some of the most tense places you've been to environmentally, just for the feeling of going into them?
I did an asylum. I've never actually been in a hospital, but I did an asylum about 4 years back. But unfortunately, I didn't capture anything, absolutely nothing. But apparently, from what I've read online, nothing actually sinister went on there. Nothing took place of a sinister nature. But unfortunately, they've knocked that building down now, so I can't really go back. Let's see. I would say the most the most uncomfortable place I've been to would have been a hotel in Newark. I was with a group at the time. Well, I've just recently left them, called Paranormal Wings, and the founder of that group, Paul Drake, he asked me to concentrate on a certain room within that hotel. Now, all I was told was that some guy had died in there. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know how long ago this was that he passed away. All I knew was he died in there. So we got there, and I went up to this room, just to try and get a feel of it, see if I could sort of like sense anything. I laid on the bed with my back up against the headboard. This was at 2 o'clock, and I don't know if I fell asleep or I blacked out, but 25 to 3, Paul knocks on the door. I comes around, he looks at me, asks me if I'm okay, and I said, I'm not sure. He says, have you been asleep? And I said, I think so. And he said, oh, okay. So we had a chat for 10 minutes. He left the room. I was in there for about another 5 minutes, and something just didn't feel right. And I got up. I felt dizzy. I thought maybe I've just got up a little bit too fast. I walked to the door. My legs didn't feel right. I was on the top floor, and I went across the landing. Now, normally, when I go down the stairs, I jog down, always, no matter where I am. I'm at home, wherever. I always jog down the stairs, but on this occasion, I had to hold onto the banister down both sets of stairs. I got down into the function room to join the rest of the team, and I just did not want to be anywhere near them. I felt anger towards them. I didn't want to hurt them in any way, just angry towards them. And this went on for an hour or so. Wherever they went, I didn't want to be anywhere near them. I was just being totally antisocial. Now, one of the other guys, Paul Henderson, is a clairvoyant and a medium, and he suggested that we have a tour of Newark Castle. So we went down there, we took a walk down there, but again, I kept my distance. Somebody actually took a photograph of me across the street on my own, out the way of everybody. And we got there, I was taking photographs, doing a bit of filming, but again, I was doing it from a distance. I just did not want to be anywhere near the group. On the way back, I must have been 20 yards ahead of them. I just wanted to get back to the hotel. That's all I wanted. Got back to the hotel that we were doing the investigation at. And as the rest of the day went on, I found myself backwards and forwards to the room, and again avoiding the other members of the group. We actually had another TV crew there, but normally I get involved with them and try and learn from them, but on this occasion I didn't want to be anywhere near them either. Now this went on till about 7:30, and we had a team meeting about 7:30. Went into the function room. Paul Drake was there. He was doing his talk, asking how everybody was getting on and if they had any experiences. Now, normally I stand up there with Paul Drake, but on this occasion, I found myself grabbing a chair and sitting at the back of the function room, out of the way of everybody else. As soon as the meeting was over with, I realised I needed a new camera, a new roaming camera. The one I had died on me. So I was rummaging about in my bag. The other members went outside. Then I realised I'd left my other cameras outside in the car. So I went to my car, and to get to my car, I had to go through my group that I was with. Somebody asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah. Carried on walking. Got to the car, got my camera, walked back. Somebody, one of the other members from the group said, I'm sure you're okay. I snapped. I'm fine. Carried on walking. Got back into the function room. I'd forgotten my charger. So I had to go back to the car. Anyway, one of the other members said, went to stop me. I said, yeah, okay. I said, I'm good. Leave me alone. I'm fine. Got past them, got to my car, came back, and one of the ladies just stood up as I walked through the group. One of the ladies just stood up in front of me and put her hand out and said, stop, enough's enough. He says, since you came out of that room, he says, you've not had anything to do with us. Anybody's spoken to you, snapped at them, or you've just given a straight, direct answer. What's going on? He says, because you're acting like an a-hole. And it was at that moment, something inside clicked. Even though I'd been conscious throughout that day, it was like this personality had taken over me. And it was like, yeah, I have been acting in that way. Anyway, we went to see Paul Henderson, who once I'd explained how I was feeling, what had been going on. He was kind of stunned, and he called over the landlord and landlady, and he said that the guy, could you explain to Andy what the guy was like that died in this room? And they said, well, he was an alcoholic, he was a chain smoker, but he was a recluse. He just stayed in his room. He didn't want anything to do with anybody, not even the other residents. If any of the residents spoke to him, he snapped at them. If he ever went downstairs for a drink, he had a drink. If the landlord, the landlady spoke to him, he would snap at them. It was completely antisocial. Didn't want anything to do with anybody. Now, me and Paul Henderson went back up to this room where the guy had passed away. Paul actually said to me, did you know the guy died only 2 weeks ago? I said, no, I didn't know that. And he said, whereabouts was you in the bedroom? I said, I was laid on the bed in the exact same spot where they found his body. Now, he did a prayer clearance. He asked me if I felt any better, which I didn't. It got to about 10:30. I still didn't feel too good. I said to Paul Drake, founder of Paranormal Links, that I was going home. It was about an hour and a half drive away. I got in just before midnight. Now, normally, when I get in after an invest, I upload all my evidence to the computer. And if I'm not too tired, I usually sit there and analyze a bit of the video footage. But on this occasion, I got in, put my stuff down, straight to bed. I got up at 10:30 in the morning and expecting to feel myself, and instead I felt, the only way I could describe it, I was emotional, depressed and suicidal. And first thing that came to mind was, I'm thinking too much about what happened last night. Now I know what this guy was like, playing on my mind. Anyway, as the day went on, it got to about just on 12. I messaged Paul and I said, I've got this, overwhelming feeling come over me. I said, I can't shake it. I explained to him how I was feeling. And he said, give it till about 3, 2:30, 3 o'clock. He said, if you still feel the same, he says, call me. We're going to have to call the priest in. So I said, right, okay, fair enough. Anyway, got to 2 o'clock. I'm sat at my computer. I'm still feeling the same. And then about 2:20, for some reason, I just stood up to the right of me, and I felt that I've never had this feeling before. I could feel the energy being drained from me. Whatever it was that was inside me, it was being drained. I could feel it being drained away. And then it had gone. And I felt fine. None of it, I didn't feel depressed, emotional, suicidal. I was back to myself. It was unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like that before. That's got to be the most uncomfortable experience I've ever had.
It definitely sounds like it. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but at least now, I mean, if somebody was to come up to me and say to me, you know, they've had the same experience, I can understand now where they're coming from and how I felt, how I dealt with it. You know, it was, I wouldn't say it was a possession. It was more of an impression. The impression of a spirit's personality had been instilled into me.
It sounds like how channeling is at first when people first start doing it. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds a bit like what happened was the person's final moments recorded into you, like a carbon copy when you were in a meditative or sleepy state.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of ghosts that haven't passed on yet, they are really intent on sharing what happened to them, telling their story. So that may have been his way of sharing what happened to him when he died.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you should say that, because one of the mediums in the group actually picked up on him. He was very. He wanted to get the message across to his family that he was sorry for what he'd done and how he acted.
Yeah, that's really common.
Sorry?
That's really common.
Yeah.
So now Sonia, who's she normally is on the show with us, but she's in the chat, wanted to know, have you been to other places in the UK to catch EVPs other than Lincolnshire?
No. Sorry, I have. That was the place I've just been talking about. That was in Nottingham. Mm-hmm. But I mean, even though I didn't capture any EVPs, I had a physical experience.
This was a hotel?
The hotel that that I was in.
Hmm. Wow,
that's amazing. So Joel, you got a question then?
No, I didn't have any questions, but I can think of a few times when we have had that experience with like a couple of people we used to go look at places with when we was growing up.
Yeah, Dean was one of them.
Yeah, well,
it was common, but yeah. everything hit Dean with points first.
Yeah.
So Zephora, you got a question?
Not yet, but these are really interesting stories.
Yeah. That's why I told Sean.
Trying to figure what good questions to ask to keep the ball rolling.
I didn't have a link to his site, so I haven't seen his videos yet.
Oh, well, actually, I do have a question. Since I haven't been to your page and seen any of your videos, I'm gonna look into it. But have you been any place stateside and had any experience over here in the U.S.?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Oh, right. Could you just repeat? Sorry, could you just repeat the question, please?
Yeah, no problem. Hold on. I was asking if there was, if you had any experience abroad, like in the U.S. or just anywhere.
Right. No. I mean, I've not actually been abroad since I actually became a ghost hunter. I've never been abroad. I have been abroad in the past, but I've never seen anything there.
Unfortunately, not every place over here is super active, but when they are, they are.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, you know, you have been someplace and you have something that if you was to revisit it at this point, you can maybe attribute it to something paranormal.
So let's see. Trying to think.
I have
Now,
a question.
fire away.
Since I haven't seen your videos, I'm sorry. What kind of like technology do you use? I know you said you do EVPs, and then I think you take photos. But like, have you done anything like used ghost boxes or anything like that? And what kind of successes have you had with the different types of gadgets that you've tried to use?
Well, I've used REM pods and EMS, things like that. But to me, other things can actually affect them gadgets, not necessarily paranormal. To me, that wasn't convincing. I mean, when I captured my first EVP, I knew that was real because, like I said, I was in that room on my own, and a young lady come through. That's when I turned my attention to EVPs. So it's basically, I mean, I use voice recorders and camcorders. I do have an SB7 spirit box. The only time I was convinced it actually works was in a place. It was a private house, and I can only describe it as there was a lot of swearing going on every time a question was asked. There was a lot of swearing going on. But
Is this on your shows? Because I haven't seen you use an SB7.
No, that was when I was with the group.
Oh,
you see, so that's their material. So I couldn't really put that on my channel.
but you own the SB7 Spirit Box?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Okay.
I owned it, yeah. But I mean, that question just reminded me of it. I mean, I'm sure if I ask the founder of Paranormal Links, Paul, I don't think he'll mind me putting it on.
Now, for the people who don't remember, the SB7 Spirit Box is the thing that goes and it sweeps through the different radio frequencies, usually spending no more than like a half a second on any one. And the spirits can come through sometimes by focusing on the box, regardless of what the channel is it's set to. And the downside to it is it can be very, very loud and noisy. Although I do know that there is an upgrade to it to take out the background hissing, so all you get is the voice. I don't know how it works, but you don't have that version, do you?
No, I ain't got that version. No, I know the Ghost Adventurers they've used it because it has two stations running side by side. One's going forward. One's scanning forward, the other one's scanning backwards. But no, I've not used that one.
You could probably use an EQ filter to filter out the white noise. But yeah, they use it on BuzzFeed Unsolved too. It's very loud.
Yeah, the new version that I've seen, or the upgrade to the SB7, makes the stuff that comes through so much clearer because all of the background hissing is gone, and that is most of my family's the only reason we really hate listening to the SB7 is because of all the trying to sort everything through the background static.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually in the new year. I'm trying to get hold of an old TV. One can you remember the old snowy screen that used to appear?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually after a TV where I can take with me and use and film and see if I can actually see any images within that screen.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid. Sometimes the things that can show up are gifts of pareidolia, but I have seen things, and so when I was about 7 years old, I stopped doing that, just because some of the shapes that would come out and the different figures were kind of scary.
Right. Yeah. While I remember one video that I think you might be interested in viewing, is a friend of mine, a fellow YouTuber. He lives about 30 minutes away from me. He went to one of the buildings that I'd already visited. It was a place called Nettleham Hall. It's near Lincoln, and he's a drone enthusiast, and he's got his own channel called Aerial Views and Histories UK. And if you have a look on there at the Nettleham Hall video, there's an image that walks past him in the background. It wasn't there to hunt ghosts. He was just there just to capture some aerial views with his drone, and it was just doing an intro video, and it looks like you can only describe it as a monk in the background just walking past, and it seems to turn to its right and look at Steve, and then turns away, carries on walking, and then it's gone.
I've got to look that up.
It's unbelievable footage. It really is. He did get a bit of flack over it, but he was going to take it off, but I kind of gave him a bit of a pep talk and said, look, leave it on, yeah, you'll get some flack over it to start with, but it'll all die down eventually. Anyway, it has done. He has actually left the video up. So, but I mean, if you get time, take a look at his channel. It's called AVAH UK. And just take a look at the video and just sort of like give me your thoughts on it.
So AVAH UK?
Yeah. It's called Aerial Views and Histories UK.
And this is on YouTube. So I'm going to see it.
Yeah,
I'm going to make sure that I bring that up right now, because I really want to link that in here. Amazing. Now, I'm going to ask a question which has nothing to do with stuff that you've collected, but so much as things that you may have learned specifically. Now, when I was in England, and since I have been looking at videos of places that are haunted in England, I surprisingly have found that there's a lot of dark monks all across the UK, and I have no idea why that is, as well as ghosts. And this is ghosts now. I'm not talking about just dark monks, people wandering, the streets of London. I mean, in these ghostly and haunted places, and a lot of women in white. And I don't understand. Is there anything you may have learned that explains this? Because there's a lot of them.
There is, yeah. I've noticed that as well over the years, that when people see something, it's a black shadow, or they saw something white going across the room. I mean, even I can't explain that one. But I mean, there has been a couple of occasions where I've heard stories of the green lady, but like you say, most common ones are the black and the white. I think it seems to crop up a lot on Haunted Adventurers as well. The black shadows, it seems to crop up quite a lot when they interview people. They've seen a black shadow, or during an investigation, Zach or Aaron, they would have seen a black shadow in the distance. But yeah, what it is about them, I don't really know. I when people say to me that they've seen something black or something white, I can only go by what they've told me. I mean,
right, but in England it seems to be a monk, and I mean usually dressed as a monk with a cowl and the robes, yeah. And you don't get that here in the U.S., but there.
Well, we didn't really have that.
Exactly. But why are there so many monks in England that have gone to heck with death?
I've wondered that too, because I've seen a lot of that crop up with like the Paranormal Lockdown UK, and they run into monks, and I'm like, why are monks sticking around? I don't understand that.
That's specifically what I was asking. I mean, that's in particular about the UK.
I totally agree.
I think, I mean, another thing, I mean, when people tend to see something dressed in black, they obviously think it's a monk. But in them days, I mean, the young ladies, they used to have like a black gown with a hood. I mean, you could easily mistake that as a monk.
Well, in the Paranormal Lockdown episodes I've seen, they were using the geoport, which is one of the ghost boxes, and they were just getting monk come through, and then they went to where a monastery used to stand, and there were monks there that were saying, you shouldn't be here, like, go away, like, and they kept telling them they were monks. So
right, I know I went to a place in Lincolnshire called Skidbrook Church. It's supposed to be the most haunted church in Lincolnshire. And now one of the guys that I started ghost hunting with in the beginning, called Paul Wilson, he was a medium, and he's absolutely amazing. He's brilliant. And this church that we went to, straight away he picked up on monks. He picked up on monks there that was actually protecting the church itself, and trying to stop people from actually entering the church. But yeah, he picked up on monks as well.
And in fact, one of the things that we had talked about on the channel, Athelhampton Manor, I'm not sure where that is in the UK, but Athelhampton had its own monk as well. And when I'd watched a movie that was shot there, and I was locked into seeing all of the major ghosts during the scene where they were in the, I guess, the sitting room with the fireplace. And it really freaked me out because I'd never been locked into seeing a particular ghost through a video before like that, without a medium being in the shot to share the information. And that was the first time I'd ever realized or thought to myself, there's a lot of monks for some reason traveling. And I'm curious historically why it is there are so many in so many different places, including a home like Athelhampton Manor.
Well, excuse me. I've never actually heard of that before. But you said Hampton, didn't you?
Athelhampton.
Applehampton. Right.
Yes. Athelhampton Manor. I'm not sure exactly where it was. What happened was I was watching a movie that they'd shot there. Yeah. I don't remember what the movie was. This happens now and again. In fact, the reason why I don't look at pictures of the Tower of London is because sometimes I'll start getting history blowing through my brain and people who'd been there, memories and stuff. But this one was extremely strong, right down to the ghost of a chimp that had died there. I didn't know what it was because it stood in the shadows. And I said, there's a creature, stands about 3 feet high. And I described it. And then my roommate quickly pulled open her phone and looked up the information while I pulled myself away from the TV so that I could break the connection, because it just wouldn't stop pouring in. A lady in white, a monk, this creature, some guys that were dueling in the main hall. And I'm just trying to get it all to stop. And she looks it up and says, yeah, everything you just mentioned, it's right on the first page. Wow. And I thought, okay, but the question was, why is there a monk in a family's home? Because it hadn't previously been a monastery of any kind.
Yeah, a friend of mine that I work with, his parents had a house in Grimsby, and their house had a monk. And he, like he said to me, he couldn't understand what that monk was doing there, because there was no signs of a monastery or anything like that, they're related to that actual location. So why that monk was there, he didn't know. But his mum when she told the story, she's one of these who she says it as she sees it, without no lies, no exaggeration, anything like that. She says what she sees. But yeah, she said she saw this monk, but why it was there, even she didn't know. Didn't have a clue.
That's one of the questions I've had for been wanting to ask someone from in the UK who does investigations to see if they have any kind of idea. There's so many shows I've watched that show that that's almost a prerequisite for some of the most haunted areas of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to I went to a place called Thornton Abbey, where monks are buried there, but I never saw anything, nothing, whilst I was there. So obviously, I mean, in my experience, you have to visit locations more than once in order to get evidence. And I've only been there a couple of times myself, but in order to get the evidence, you have to keep return all the time. It's like they have an ongoing investigation at a cottage in Elsham. I'm going back to the video that you watched where we was provoking. That actually took I think 8 attempts to actually get that EVP in that building. I had to keep going back and back and back, and on the 8th attempt, I actually got proof that there was a haunting there. So, like I say, you have to keep going back to these places in order to get the evidence. And yeah, there may be monks roaming this abbey, but at this moment, I've never seen any. But I'd like to go back at some point, so maybe next year.
Okay, so quickly to go back, the video that you said the person was walking in the background of your friend on the AVAH UK.
Yeah.
What is that? The Demon Church by Drone, St. Botolph's in Skidbrook Church?
No, the video you want is Nettleham Hall. It's spelled NETTLEHAM.
There's an analysis video. I put the link in the Google Hangouts.
Okay, I'll put that link then in the into the show so people can look at it.
If you go to about 1 minute 50 seconds in, it's got to slow down, like zoom in on it, so you can see it really clearly.
Okay. I'm going to put the whole video then into the link so that everybody can take a peep at it.
I just need to take a short break, Sean.
Okay.
Okay, mate. Back in a second.
All right. So.
Yeah, it's really clear. It's really amazing.
The changes, and so now anybody who's listening can or watching can now go take a peek at this.
I guess it starts sooner. If you go to about 1 minute 30 seconds into the video, he plays it. He replays it a few times.
You said 1 minute
Really
30
clear.
seconds.
Really clear.
Let's go right there.
Now, where should we be looking?
Are you on the unexplained entity caught on camera with analysis? That video?
No. I got Nettleham Hall.
Oh shoot! Holy shit! It's a fucking monk.
Look at the link I posted in Google
Eric. So sorry, you take it easy.
Sorry.
Joel.
Look at the link I posted in Google Hangouts. It's the shorter analysis video, and he zooms in on it and replays it a few times, and it's really clear.
That's freaky.
It's like there's a real person just walking there. It's
amazing. Sean is bizarre,
and it just comes out of nowhere because I mean, they would have had to been standing behind that wood.
That pillar, that's
pillar.
like that. Yeah, because you would have seen him come around the corner to, like, if he was hiding behind the wall, you would have seen him come around that wall.
Yeah.
It looks like he just
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, like he was just about his way,
solid.
to the market. Yeah.
That is creepy.
That is, ooh. Ooh, I wonder if he felt that. I mean, the guy doesn't look like he felt it,
I
but
don't think he noticed it until he looked at the video later, or other people noticed it or something.
yeah, because that's like,
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. No, it's the energy that just came off of it. The energy that just came off of it. That was really something.
see, I know. I that was just like I tried to reel it in. Actually, I did reel it in a little bit, Sean, but it was just so much. You see why I reacted that way? It was just like so much.
Okay, this thing even has it has an energy that passes before it.
It has a mass.
I can't even see that.
And the aura is pushing in front of it, and it's got it looks like it's wearing a sash. That's wow. It is self-realized. That is wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm watching the thing as it moves. This thing, and it has legs.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
It's full bodied. It's legit.
Just give me a second, because if this is what I'm thinking, I want to see the farther away one.
Oh my gosh, that's yeah, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna. Sorry, Eric, but I'm just gonna have to react because that's just a bit much. Like that makes me have to go to the bathroom, like instant.
Yeah, the thing in the picture. Wow, that thing in the picture, it is, and I can see where it's holding its hands.
Yeah. Oh, there's like two tones to it too. I don't know if you saw that, but there's definitely
like 3 different tones. You can see between legs. You can see the fact there's a sash on its chest, and you can see where its hands are clasped.
Yeah, it's like you can, and it looks like at one point it looks like, I don't know, you can see the tunic almost. That's bizarre.
I just wish that he'd gotten a clearer picture of it, because with all of the yeah, it even picks up the aura in the negative. You can even see it in the negative of it. That's amazing. When he does the photo negative, I knew I wasn't crazy. This is it is pushing an aura in front of it. It's like it's following something that's attracted its attention. It's not aware of him at all.
Oh man,
that's incredible. Oh man, that is really something.
That's pretty. Oh my god,
that is really amazing. Well, as
I can't stop watching this video. I'm gonna watch it again. That's pretty awesome. As far as video goes, that's like I've seen some ghost hunter videos that are pretty significant, but this one, like, you see, like, what the?
That is probably one of the more self-apparent thing. But it's moving like it is not aware that anything's around it.
It's moving like it's not, like it knows that nobody's aware that it's in the background.
Yeah.
And he wants to, it's like it wants to keep it that way. It moves like I move when I don't want to be seen. It's like, nothing to see here. I'm just passing through.
Ninja Joel.
It was. I was like, a straight ninja move. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, when Andrew gets back, we'll wrap this up. But that is an amazing piece of evidence right there, because unless there is, and I'm telling you now, unless there's somebody under a sheet and they figured out how to take a shot of that perfectly, which I sincerely doubt, the energy, the aura of it says that it actually is something present. It's not just a graphical error or something in the background that was a shadow passing over that made it. No, because it has an aura.
CGI.
It literally has an aura.
I was just going to say, if that's CGI, kudos to the CGI guy.
No, CGI is not going to be able to add an aura to it that I'm going to be able to look at.
Yeah, no.
Well, an aura that you can see and I can't. I mean, it would be, everyone would be able to see it.
Yeah. And it has enough of an aura that goes before it that it's held on to. If it is a ghost, it's held on to enough energy that it is similar to an average living person in energy. And I'm curious as to how it maintains that. I mean, the average living person who has an average aura, it has about that much aura around it.
It shows that thing. You know what? It has that, like, I hate to say this, but you know how in the animes they have like the blue moth or the blue butterflies?
Mm-hmm.
There looks like there's like a flutter in front of it. Kind of like, yeah.
That's why I said it's pushing an aura in front of it. You can see that.
Yeah. Okay. That's the aura you was talking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I just call it the creepy butterflies. Creepy anime butterflies. I tell my kids, you ever see blue butterflies that look kind of shimmery in front of somebody? Run. Don't mess around. It's weird because, like, you can see it on both camera, like on the live camera and then on the infrared. That's
I don't think it's infrared.
negative.
I think it's just
The
a negative.
negative, yeah.
The photo negative.
The negative. That's just ugh. He's such a freaking ghost. I love it. Look at that. Well, okay, I'm gonna stop watching this for a little bit. All right, that's cool. That was probably the best video I've seen in a long time.
I'm trying to see if I can find it where it's happening in the background distance so that I can get more of the feel. Because when you zoom in, you lose too much detail. There it is.
Ooh, yep. I want to see it.
There. Yeah, it happens at about one. You start your video at 104 and just wait. It should start at about 108.
Oh, okay. So they like back.
Yeah,
got it.
There it is. Yeah, and I could see between. Yeah, that is amazing. No, he's gonna. It has an aura. It has a presence, and it's wow, that was amazing. Anyway, I think Andrew is a little busy, so we're just going to wrap this up. If you guys like what we do here, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We have a PayPal set up, so if you want to send any donations so we can keep on improving our equipment and bringing people on. No, I don't pay them. They come on out of the goodness of their hearts. So no, it's not to bribe people to come in here. We're not that unlikable. And but if you want to donate to the channel, just give me a message and we could definitely improve our equipment and make sure that we're able to keep bringing you the best shows we possibly can. Because unlike Zephora, we're just dealing with regular old mics. She's the one who has the professional stuff. I'm kind of jealous.
I'm back now.
Oh, okay. Great, Andrew. If you got any last messages or anything that you want to say to the audience, please feel free to share, especially with that wonderful video under our belts now.
Oh, you've watched it. What do you think?
Yes, several times.
Several times. The person, in the background, it has an aura. There's a flutter that goes before it, like it's being led, like it's following something that only it can see. And in the close-ups, I can see the aura even better. And it's definitely something that has a presence.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you from a gifted person, a visually gifted person's point of view, it was stark. It was very, very apparent.
Yeah, he noticed the whatever it was fluttering in front of it as well. He brought that up as well before. I think he mentions it in his video.
And it's almost like something was pulling it. He was pushing an aura in front of him, or it was pulling him along, and it has its own aura. You can see it fore and aft, and it's almost at the level, like I said, of a living person, a normal living person's aura. Everybody has an aura, but this thing, I'm not used to ghosts having that much of an aura. They usually have a presence, or they're like paper, or they're massive and extremely strong and almost like any normal person, but with a much greater aura. This thing, that's amazing. Never seen anything like it.
I've never captured anything like that before. I mean, the building he was in, I've been there 3 times, and never captured anything like that. The week after he captured that footage, I went down the following week, and I think I must have spent 5 hours there filming, and I had about 3 cameras set up, all pointing at the same area where that image showed up, but I got nothing. I didn't get anything.
Sometimes it's just the energy that we give off is not threatening, and it's non-invasive, and that's probably the reason why he got it, because he wasn't even casting his attention that way.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he went there just to film the building. It wasn't his intentions to, try and capture any ghosts or anything like that. Just to do a history piece on the building. That was it.
Well, I'm definitely going to pass this forward to Brent so that he can put it on his channel and on his Facebook page, so he can get him some foot traffic, because that was that warrants looking at and everybody seeing.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, the poor guy did receive quite a lot of flack about that video. I mean, a few of my friends, work colleagues, they said it's not a ghost. And I said, well, what makes you say that? It's too solid. It moves too fast. So to me, I say, well, what does a ghost look like? How does a ghost move? Nobody can answer that question.
I could answer that question for you, but
okay.
But anyway, let us get off the show, and thank you very much, everybody. Stay blessed until next we meet. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and take a look at Andrew's channel. It's amazing. You will not be let down by the quality of the videos and the wonderful places he goes and visits. Thank you very much, and until next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.